What's up? This is Beyond Manifestors, where we dive deep into the depths of our souls. I'm Ro, a psychic medium life guide that helps those who are struggling and feel that they are beyond manifestors. And this is how I realized I was a psychic medium. Come on in, get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and let's dive deep into this. So shortly after my twin flame, Kundalini awakening, and leaving my job, my spirit led me across the country to spend some time with my sister and her husband. This was a way for me to get some fresh air and clear my head due to everything that had occurred and that was going on at the time. So I packed up my shit and I drove there. I'm glad I did because it gave me some time to enjoy the scenery. I love driving and hadn't been on a real road trip in a while, probably a couple years. But this time it was different. I felt like Spirit was driving and got me there the whole way. So as I'm there, I'm enjoying time with the family, experiencing new things, being present and really experiencing and enjoying them at a deeper level than ever before. Every so often, my sister would ask, was I going to move down here? Or make jokes to other people like, he still hasn't decided if he was going to move here yet. And honestly, I just kept blowing her off, or I couldn't even make up my mind. It was just like, at that time, I wasn't thinking about actually settling down there. But that didn't stop her from asking. Most of my stay, I would spend my time in quiet. I asked Spirit what it was that I needed to do next. I kept hearing surrender and clear channel. So I started back my routine in meditation, taking time out with God and focusing on things that would promote that more. I went to the gym, went on walks, and to the park a lot. I also committed to writing, journaling, and a reading practice. Then I was led to start taking classes on metaphysical science and mysticism, so I enrolled in college. At random times during the day while studying, I would see sparks of light. I also felt like I was seeing people in the corner of my eye, but when I would try to look and focus, they would disappear. At times, I would also feel like someone or something was watching and approaching me. I was also still working on figuring out this empath psychic sensitivity. I didn't want it to go away completely. I just wanted to learn how to manage it because at one point in my life, it was very helpful. I still wanted to help others, but I didn't want it debilitating me and taking over my life. Throughout my nights when I would sleep, I would also get the feeling of death. It wasn't like I wanted to kill myself. It was just a feeling like I was gonna die. So I asked God, why must I die? He responded, in order to be the new you. It wasn't a literal physical death. It was more of a releasing and letting go of everything that I thought I knew. I was still holding on to some things, and it was time to surrender to the Kundalini process in my dark night of the soul. I was eventually led to a meditation retreat. This retreat was pretty intense if you've never done one before. Basically, no stimulants, all vegan or vegetarian meals, and rarely no connection to the outside world. It was recommended no alcohol be consumed up to a few days to a week prior. No scented any colognes, perfumes, shampoos, lotions, nothing. So basically nothing that the physical part of you or your ego was attached to or craving. During this retreat, we would meditate for hours, basically all day, as well as practice tuning into spirit, reading people, as well as completing energy work. Some of my teachers would say I was really good at holding space for the spirit and others. Overall, I was comfortable with whatever they asked me to do in any exercise. It was a few people that asked to get read by me or that couldn't wait to be paired up with me. I found that weird, but somehow validating. During one of my sessions, I was reintroduced to my spirit team, the we in me. I was also transported into one of my past lives that explained why I had some of the traumas and conditioning in this life. It was the craziest experience ever, and I'll share that in another video. About 2 weeks later, I was released back into the real world with a higher level of awareness, new insights, and perspective. A great belief in myself, intuition, and spirit. If I had one thing working for me, it was my willingness. I was willing to surrender to my highest good and the gifts God had placed in me, but that didn't mean it was easy. But it was easier as I continued my daily practices. Up until this point, my whole life had been about learning more of who I am, the divine, and helping others with what I could. I knew something was unfolding in me. I just didn't know exactly what yet and couldn't put all the pieces of the puzzle together. A few months later, while I was reading outside, I heard a voice that said, someone's gonna die. I thought I was tripping. So I pushed it away and focused harder on what I was doing and went about my business. Days later, when I was studying, I heard the voice again so clearly say, someone's gonna die and you're going to have to do CPR and they're not gonna make it. Honestly, I was freaked the fuck out. Due to some of my previous training, I know how powerful thoughts can be. And I was like, I'm not speaking this shit into existence. I thought I was going nuts, so I began to pray and speak positive over the situation. One night while I was eating dinner, I was having a great time and talking with the family. The next thing that happened blew my fucking mind. I mean, blew it. Simultaneously, I was having a conversation at the table with my brother, verbally and psychically in my mind. He started talking to me first, though. In my mind, he was joking with me like he always did. He was like, you a lifeguard? You know CPR? You ever did it on anybody? And I responded psychically, I ain't no damn lifeguard. I'm a personal trainer, and yeah, I know how to do CPR from training and working with kids. While this was happening, we were having a whole different conversation at the table, verbally with others. At this point, I really thought I lost my mind right away. I was stunned after that, and I was in a daze. Nothing seemed to matter to me anymore that was going on at that table. After dinner, I went into the room, and I felt like a little kid again, alone and afraid. All of my thoughts of judgment came up, like old programming, fears, doubts, and worries. I wanted to know if I was making this shit up, and who could I talk to? Even though deep down inside, I knew I wasn't. I was also in a situation where the household was totally against it due to religious beliefs, and it was considered crazy or demonic. And I preferred not to go down that rabbit hole or try to convince anyone that I didn't lose my last screw that was holding my brain together. So I got quiet and I spoke to spirit, and I got the message, start documenting and writing down things that happened like this. I cried and I fell asleep, but I woke up with a new sense of purpose, renewal of my mind, and much less confused. A few months later, as I was asleep, I was faded, knocked out. Probably was slobbing too. I heard a loud in my dream. It wasn't any visuals, but it was so loud and real that it woke me up. I checked around to make sure everything was okay, and it was, so I went back to sleep. The deepest sleep ever. Deeper than the sleep I was in prior. Moments later, I heard someone banging on my door. My nephew was saying, Mom needs you. I thought I was still dreaming. Then I realized I wasn't. So I opened the door and he said, Mom needs you. I ran upstairs and everything began to slow down, including my heart. And my sister said, it sounded like he stopped breathing. So as we began to do CPR on my bro, at the same time while doing compressions and my sister was talking to the paramedics, I began to have another conversation as I felt this spirit over me. I'm saying psychically, don't go, bro, you can come back. He said, it's so nice up here. I'm like, you don't have to leave like this. Come back to your body. Please, please come back. He said, bro, my mom is here. And he sounded like a little kid again. Like joyful. I told him whatever he needed me to do, I would do to the best of my ability. The paramedics came, and when we went to the hospital later that night, they officially declared that he had passed on. Through this and looking back on other moments, I found out that I was more psychic than I thought, and I actually was a medium with the dominance and clairaudience at the time. I also learned more about my intuitive gifts, such as declares, premonition, telepathy, and above all, to trust spirit. See, even though things didn't seem like they made sense at first, why they happened the way they did, when you're willing, God always provides the way. You're always in the right place at the right time for your spiritual journey. One of the highlights, I was also able to help my nephew repair his relationship with his father before he passed. I didn't know any of this would happen. When he shared this with me, I began to cry, tears of joy, knowing that I was on the right path, how God wants to use me at this time, and I'm here to make a difference. I work for the divine, the spirit realm, and your highest good. Thank you, bro, for helping me with this part of my spiritual journey. Life can be challenging when you are understood by others, but we don't have to do it alone. Click the link in the bio or the description and give me a call, and I'll see you on the other side. God bless.